There is one trait that will make you insanely attractive. It has nothing to do with your looks, your height, your physique, and developing it will be one of the most influential factors in your success with girls. Developing this trait took me from being a shy, insecure kid who would get red in the face around girls, have negative racing thoughts, and would be an absolute coward in every realm when it came to anything related to girls, to a confident man who goes after exactly what he wants and has tons of success due to it. So this trait is courage, and there's 3 ways to develop it. The first one being so simple that you're gonna kick yourself for not having started doing this before. When I was 19 years old, my family moved from New York to Florida where I knew absolutely no one. And I was terrified because my whole life I grew up as a shy introvert and I didn't know how I was gonna make friends or meet girls, being that I wasn't in school anymore. So for months, I was in complete isolation, not talking to anybody, terrified to talk to anybody, even at the gym or any place I went. So this fear just kept growing and growing and growing. And the whole time, I knew that there was an 18+ club that I could go to on Thursday nights, but I just didn't go because I was just so scared. What was I gonna say when I got there? I didn't have any friends. I didn't know how to meet people. I was like, it's gonna be just weird going alone. I can't do it. It was just impossible for me to do. But after months of being isolated and alone and starting to feel depressed, I decided I was gonna go. And I literally was so scared the day of that I threw up right before, but I went anyway. And when I went out, it wasn't that bad. I started making friends really quickly, and I even met a girl and went home with her, and this is the first time I ever did that, and this was a huge win for me, being that I was so scared, and things turned out to be so great. And I didn't even fathom that that was a possibility of going home with a girl, but I kind of just went with the flow, and things really worked out in my favor. And the lesson here is that you need to conquer your fear head on. The moment you feel scared is the moment you need to act. The longer you let that fear fester and build, the worse and worse it's gonna be. Like my story is a perfect example because I let it wait so long. I went months before I went to that club, and every day, every week, every month that went by and I didn't act on it, it just kept building that fear to the point where I was panicking before I had to go. But if I squashed that the second I felt it, it would have been so much easier because a lot of the time your fear is just imagined, and you have to keep doing what you're fearful of until you disprove it and you realize that you actually have nothing to be scared of. This was something I had to work on for going to the clubs. It wasn't just like that one time I went out by myself and then now all of a sudden I'm this cool, confident guy who can go out to the clubs with ease. It took me a little bit. It took me a while to develop that. And even after having gone to the clubs tons and tons of times, sometimes I would go to a new city and feel a little nervous, even after having gone out plenty of times alone. And it's just something I would have to squash that fear of consistently until now, after hundreds of times going out alone, I feel just as confident doing that as when I'm with friends. And that's genuinely the truth. So you really need to conquer your fears by being courageous and acting when you're fearful. And this is going to make the biggest difference for you, especially when it comes to girls. If you start feeling nervous when you're about to go talk to a girl, you need to just go act on it because you're gonna realize that it's not that scary. This is why cold approaching is so great for developing confidence as a whole, because you're gonna realize that a lot of these fears are imaginary. Girls are a lot nicer than you'd imagine, and it's not that hard to talk to them. You just gotta overcome your fear, and the biggest battle is gonna be up in your mind mentally. And this is so true. It's not just for me. It's actually something I had a client who had the exact same issue. Whenever he would see a girl he wanted to talk to, he would instantly get fearful, have those negative racing thoughts, a lot like my younger self. And what we did was we reframed his mindset to understand that the moment you feel fear, it's actually a good thing. And this is why you need to go talk to her, because it's a positive thing. You're feeling excited, you're not feeling fear. We reframed it in his mind. So now, anytime he feels fear when he's about to seize a girl, he goes and talks to her, and all of a sudden now, everything started to change for him, and he no longer feels that fear. He's lining up dates left and right, having conversations with ease, and it's all because of just using courage as your driving force, overcoming fear. This is gonna be one of the biggest game changers for you. Another great way to build courage is by facing adversity. When I first moved to Florida, I went out to the mall with an unusual sense of confidence and wanted to talk to girls. And right off the bat, I got rejected by 2 girls, was absolutely devastated. And this led to that long isolation period because I was so scared to go and do it again. Now, I get rejected all the time. 2 weeks ago, I had an amazing night, brought home 2 girls, but I got rejected on the first approach that I did. This past weekend, I got rejected a bunch, more than usual actually, a ton of times, and I also still had a bunch of great conversations in the mix. See, when you get rejected, you're dealing with adversity, and this is going to build courage, because once you can stop being scared of rejections, courage, especially with applying this to getting girls and talking to girls, it's just gonna be 10 times what you would have if you feared getting rejected. Once you can eliminate this fear and the adversity that comes along with dealing with rejections, you're gonna be so much better off. It is a superpower to not be scared. And now, without this final piece, even if you are being courageous, putting yourself out there, facing adversity, you won't make the progress that you want. You really need to understand this. See, when I was first talking to girls, I was absolute dog shit. Like I explained, those first 2 girls that I approached at the mall went terribly. They completely ignored me. But with what I know now, I could have changed the game, and they would have 100% at least interacted with me to some degree, because I know a lot of basic things. Like, I'll give you an example. I would now 100% go with excuse me before just saying something. When you just say something, you're not really capturing someone's attention, and if you need to repeat yourself, it just sounds silly, and you're automatically lowering whatever first impression that you could have made. So when you say excuse me, someone has your attention, now you speak, and now you have their attention fully when you are speaking. Something like that makes all the difference. And the point I'm trying to make here is that you're not gonna know what you need to improve on if you don't have any data to work off of. This is like being a sniper and trying to dial in your scope without having any bullet reference points to go off of. If you've never taken a shot and seen that, okay, 10 bullets went to the left, we need to calculate and move it to the right, you have nothing to work off of. And it's the same thing with girls. The reason why when I read all the books on sales, psychology, marketing, and I can apply the knowledge so universally, especially with girls in abstract subjects that it's not necessarily even on, is because I have so much data to work off of. I've been talking to girls for years in many different places, from bars and clubs to the beach to pools to the gym. Everywhere I go, I'm talking to girls, and it gives me such a wide range to work off of, and it gives me so much trial and error, and I would have never gotten there without having to apply courage. There's so many times when I've been so afraid to go and talk to girls, especially at the beach. That was a scary one for me when I was younger, and it's given me so much valuable knowledge that I can now really apply and tie in. See, that whole time, you also really want to be learning different things, understanding girls as a whole, understanding attraction, female psychology. Some of the things I can now pick up on so easily is like nonverbal communication, but that's all because I've experienced it so many times and really allowed it to piece together over the years. It wasn't just like something I understood from day one. So this is all that you really need to do, and it's only going to be courage that's going to allow you to get here. And it's so valuable. Without this, I would be nowhere near where I am now. I wouldn't be making this channel. I wouldn't be helping guys. I wouldn't be able to give any advice if I hadn't been courageous when I was younger, gone out and talked to so many girls. It really set me up for success, not only with girls, but with business and life as a whole. And it's a very much a guiding philosophy. Everything I'm talking about in this video will change your life, not just with girls, but in every single realm. Just being courageous, because the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So if you can be courageous with girls, you'll be courageous with business, you'll be courageous in all your life, and it's just gonna be an upward spiral that girls are absolutely magnetized by. And that is exactly why girls find this trait so attractive. Being courageous is not about just going and talking to a girl and trying to get her number or trying to sleep with her. It's about the person you become in the journey. See, for me to now have all this success when I talk to girls, it took a lot. I had to learn how to be charismatic, charming. I had to learn nonverbal communication. I had to become the best version of myself, improve my style, improve my looks, do everything I can to have the success that I have, whilst being courageous, picking up on things, learning from my mistakes, learning from my successes. And that is what girls find attractive, is the person that you become. Because like I said, there's a lot of adversity, you face a lot of rejections, it makes you stronger as a person when you're doing this. And when you're just courageous as a person, you're gonna be very attractive to girls. You're creating a lot of the traits that girls are attracted to, like confidence, charisma, being courageous as a whole is one in itself. I mean, that's gonna be something that girls love. If you're someone who can just go up to a girl and talk to her and be confident, she's gonna love that. I literally have an example of a girl who said she was so grateful that I went up and talked to her the way I did and the way I just introduced myself when she was in bed with me later that night at the hotel after the club. See, it's more about who you become as a person, and this is one of the essential steps that you need to be taking. You can't just skip developing courage along with all the other traits, and a lot of the other traits are gonna stem off of courage. So it's one of the essential core ones that you need to be applying. If you're missing it, you're gonna be missing out on a lot of different things you need as a man to succeed with girls. And that's all for this video. And if you got any value out of this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. On this channel, I'll be teaching you how to become attractive to girls and get your dream girl. So if that sounds of interest, make sure to subscribe. And if you want my help to take things to the next level, book a free coaching call with me down below. We're gonna dive exactly into your dating life and give you tangible steps in order to start rapidly improving it in order to have the success that you want. So if that sounds of interest, it's completely free. Book that call down below. They do end as soon as I fill up all my coaching slots, which I'm taking on 3 new clients. So if you want that free coaching call, make sure to book that down below while it's still available. See you guys on there. Have a great day, everyone.